A very good morning to all of you, my dear students. Welcome back to the class once again. So, we are discussing the chapter Political Parties of Grade 9 from Social and Political Life, chapter number 3. We have discussed a lot of things in our first class, and this is the second one. What makes an election democratic? We have gone through in our last class. So, those who were not present, I'm just recapping this for them only. Here is the simple list of the minimum conditions for a democratic election. These are the minimum conditions. We can always have a chance of doing something better in the best way. The first one is that everyone should be able to choose. No one should be denied that you are not able to vote, that you will not vote. Everyone should be able, everyone should be given the opportunity to vote to elect their representative under the concept of universal adult franchise. Here, it also means that everyone should have one vote and every vote should have equal value. That is the concept over here. Everyone should be given or should be able to choose, should be able to vote, and their votes should have equal value. Second condition, there should be something to choose from. I mean, there should not be only one party contesting the election. There must be varieties of parties, various parties, which should be allowed to contest the election. Parties as well as their candidates should be free to contest election. They should not be charged for contesting any election. They should offer some real choice to the voters. The voters should get some chances to choose from the various number of parties which are there available in the election. So there must be chances, there must be choices for the voters to elect from someone. There should not be only one party or one candidate in the election. The third minimum condition, the choice should be offered at regular intervals. It should be not like that once elected for the lifetime. No, they should be given the chance to serve the people, to do something good for the country, to work for the welfare of the people for a fixed year or fixed number of time, fixed number of years or fixed number of month, maybe whatever. But it should be there that election must be held regularly after few years. The fourth one, the candidate preferred by the people should get elected. It should not be like that people have voted for that particular candidate and that candidate has not been elected. Sometime it happens, people have voted for that particular candidate, but the party, after winning the election, they give chance to another candidate under some pressure or maybe some type of favoritism. So it should not be like that. The candidate preferred by the people, he or she should get the chance to be elected to govern the country also. Fifth point, elections should be conducted in a free and fair manner. We are having in our country free election. We are having in our country fair election where people can choose as they really wish. We are free over here to press any button in the EVM machine according to our own choice. So that is free and that is fair also. So these are the conditions which should be fulfilled to make an election democratic. If any of the condition is not fulfilled from these 5 points, then it would be very hard to tell, to declare that the election was democratic. Now, the next topic that we have to discuss over here is the question also coming in our mind, in your mind, in my mind also, that whether it is good to have political competition. Because we know that whenever there is an election in the country or in the state, there is a competition. And that competition not among the voters. The competition is among the different parties and their candidates. So whether it is good to have that competition, that we have to check over here, this question. Let us start. Elections, in short, totally means political competitions, which takes various forms. Sometimes it turns into violent form also. Sometimes you will see the candidates are coming to meet you in your house by folding or by joining their both hands together. So political competitions can take any form, and really it has various forms. We have seen a lot in our country, in other countries as well. And the most understandable form among those various forms is the competition among political parties. Every party they try to convince the voters by presenting their various programs and policies which they are going to implement after winning the election. So they try their best, they use the media, they use every type of advertising, whether in the TV channel, in radio, in the wall, in the painting, in the fainting form, in the leaflet form, whatever. They try their best to win the election and convince the people. Now, at the constituency level, it takes the form of competition among several candidates, because we know that India is our vast country. Our country, India, is a very vast. So that's why our country has been divided into regions, such as Gaya is also a constituency, Jahanabad is also a constituency. So Bihar itself has been divided into various divisions, and those small divisions is known as constituency. So at the constituency level, the competition is among the several candidates of several parties. And let me tell you, if there will be no competition, then it will be meaningless to have any election. Whom you will elect? If there will be only one candidate, only one party, you will have no choices. So if there is no competition, election will become pointless. There is no use of having competition. There is no use of having election. So an election should have many or several candidates from several parties. Then only will it will be meaningful. Now let us look at few of the demerits of electoral competition as well. Every whatever topic or whatever you will do in your life, think about its negatives, think about its demerits also, disadvantages also. It is good to think about, to know about the negative points, demerits, and disadvantages of a particular thing, besides knowing about the positives also. So let us go through about the demerits of electoral competition. That is competition in the election. What are its demerits? It creates a sense of disunity. Where before the election, you will see that people living in a single constituency, right, people living in the same constituency are really living like the members of the same family. All the people who are living in that area, they will be seen that they are living like brothers and sisters. But during electoral competition, during election, it creates and develops a sense of disunity. They are seen as disunited, you can say, not united, they are seen as separated. Someone will chant for party number A, and someone will chant for party B, and party C, party D, you know? So they will be, you can say, separation during the electoral competition, and that is the demerit, that it divides people. It split them into different groups. That is known as factionalism. It divides the people. Many times I have seen that it divides the members of the same family into different group. They belong to same family. If suppose there are four brothers, then two brothers will join another party and two brothers will join other party. That I have seen also, observed, that it divides people. The election divides the people. It creates the sense of disunity. It creates the sense of disharmony also in every locality. So that is also one of the demerits, my dear students. So let us discuss the another demerit of electoral competition. Different political parties and their leaders often level allegations against one another, and that is the most common thing, that every political party and the leader, they used to charge against another, the party and the leaders and their parties of another parties. They will always say, you know, the work that has not been satisfied by the people or rejected by the people, they will try to make such points as an issue, and they will try to blame each other, you know, on different points. They will not talk for the good work that each of their party and the leader have done. They will start blaming, they will start criticizing the member or the leader of the opposition party. So that is also a very demerit of the electoral competition, that people of the same family, the brother of the same family, working for different parties, they criticize each other. That is also creates a division, that also creates disunity among the members of the same family, among the people of the same constituency. They start blaming and criticizing each other. That is also one of the demerits of electoral competition. Parties and candidates often use dirty tricks to win election, and that is also one of the most important demerit you can see over here that happens during election. Parties and the leaders, even they use muscle power also. They might use bullets also, and they might use currency also to win election. They will try to use anything. They can cross any boundary to win election. That is most important for them. They do not wait for the justice to be done by the people. No, they don't have belief on the people. They don't have belief on the voters. They don't wait for the justice to be delivered by the people. They start using dirty tricks, like using muscle power or like using currencies. They offer currency to the people at the time of voting. They often try to, you can understand that they use a lot of muscle power also during the time of election, and that we have discussed in our first chapter, what is democracy and why democracy. In that chapter we have seen that various parties, how the various parties use their dirty tricks to win the election, especially those who are the ruling party. They have the power in their hand, and they used to use a lot of dirty tricks to win the election. And that is also a very negative point and demerit point, because the party who is ruling, they should also have the chances of losing. They should also have the chance of losing the election, but they do not, give any opportunity to the other party to win the election, because they have the power. The ruling party, they have the power. They have police under their administration. They have every authority. They can change the rule. Even sometimes I have seen that Election Commission of India also works under them. So we have discussed a lot about parties and candidates using often dirty tricks to win the elections. Now let us discuss the next point. The pressure to win electoral fights does not allow sensible long-term policies to be formulated. Yes, that is always a pressure on the winning party. They are not able to make long-term policies for the people of their area, so that they can do something good for them. They always look to only win the election. That is also not a good thing for the people of the country. The party should be free mind to think about the people, to work for the welfare of the people of the country where they have been elected. So that is also one of the demerit of electoral competition, that it puts the ruling party as well as it puts the opposition party under a lot of pressure. People who may wish to serve the country, yes, there are many people, those who are good and those who want to stay away from these dirty tricks and from this type of pressure or from this factionalism. There are many people, those who want to do something good for the country. They really are very good. They want to do some for the work for the fair welfare of the people of the country, but they deny, they hesitate to enter this arena, to enter this world of competition. They deny, they hesitate, वो हिचकिचाते हैं इस फील्ड में आने से भी. They want to do something good for the country, but they want to save themselves from this arena which is full of competition, which is full of dirty tricks, which is full of pressure, which is full of losing the life also. Many times you might have heard that some MLA or any MP has been shot by the criminals. They have died in the accidents also. So that's why those good people, they also scared, they also afraid of, and they used to hesitate to enter in this field of competition, in this arena. This point. Okay, students, let us move to the next point of this particular topic. That topic is not yet completed. So let us continue that one. Our constitution makers, they opted for what? They have written in the constitution, given the provision that the elections will be of free of cost, free competition in elections. People will not be charged a single paise to vote. That will be free competition in election as the way to select our future leaders. Even the leaders who are coming in the competition, those who are contesting the election or the party, they will also be not be charged. Even they will not be stopped also by anyone. That is the concept of free over here, that no one will deny their candidature. There must be some conditions they have to fulfill to contest the elections, and if they fulfill that condition, and that condition will be same for all, it will not vary from party to party, from leader to leader. The condition for fooling the conditions to appear or to contest the election will be same for all, and whoever fulfill those conditions, such as age criteria, such as experience, or such as a legal background, white background, these are the conditions. So whoever will fulfill the condition, they will be allowed to contest the election. That is the meaning of free competition over here. So as the way to select our future leaders, we are going to select our future leaders with the help of electoral competition or election, because they thought, our constitution makers thought, that this system works better in the long run. So let us have a look at the second point. Political leaders all over the world, like all other professionals, are motivated by a desire to advance their political careers. Yes, the political leaders always see whether there is a growth in this particular politics, in the field of politics. If they see, yes, there is a point of moving forward, they can advance in their political leaders. If they are a small leader, if they are just ordinary leaders in the party, but they have the chance to become the top leader, then they will be motivated. They will do something good for the party as well as for the people of the country. So they must be motivated also. Political leaders, they want to remain in power or get power and positions for themselves. Now, this is also one of the thing, what they wish. They wish for power, to get more and more power, to get more and more high positions for themselves, and that should be there in their mind. Then only they will do something good for the party as well as for the welfare of the human being also. So this type of concept should be there in their mind, that yes, they want to get more power. Few political leaders, they wish to serve the people as well. Not all the political leaders are dirty or bad. No, I will not say anything. I will never say like this. Yes, there are many political leaders who really want to serve the people, but it is risky to depend entirely on their sense of duty. We can't depend on them fully. We have to ask them. They must be accountable. There must be someone to ask them about what they are doing, and how are they going to improve the condition of the country. Besides, even political leaders wish to serve the people, they may not know what is required to do so. कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि वो करना चाहते हैं लेकिन उनको पता ही नहीं होता है कैसे करना है, what is required to do, क्या करना है, and how they will do. And it might not match with the thinking of the people, requirement of the people also. करना कुछ का चाहते हैं और लोग कुछ और चाहते हैं. That is also the thing. So that is all in this class. My dear students, stay at home and stay safe. Bye bye. Take care, my dear students. Good day to all of you.